This is you. You're sitting in a cramped one-bedroom apartment in a rundown complex on the outskirts of Odessa, Texas. The air smells like stale pizza, cheap energy drinks, and the faint ozone burn of electronics pushed too hard. It's 3:17 a.m. The only light comes from the single RTX 3070 humming on your desk like a dying animal. Its fans scream at full throttle, sucking in the warm West Texas night air through the cracked window. Your electric bill last month was $187. The card mined $43 worth of Raven coin after pool fees. You lost money. Again. But you don't stop. You can't, because this single GPU is the only thing standing between you and the life you swore you'd never live. The one your old man lived. Oil-field grunt, broken back, dead at 47 from a rig accident and a bottle of whiskey. You were supposed to be different. Coding scholarships, community college, dreams of building something clean. Then the layoffs hit. Then the medical bills for your mom. Then the repo man. Now, you mine. You name the card Ghost. Stupid, but it stuck. Every night you watch the hash rate tick up in tiny green numbers while the rest of the world sleeps. You tell yourself, one more month, one lucky coin pump, one breakthrough, just enough to buy a second card, then a third. Then you scale. The obsession started small. A Reddit thread, a late-night YouTube rabbit hole about kids in their basements turning gaming rigs into passive income. You sold your truck to buy the 3070 used off Facebook Marketplace for $380. You lied to your ex that you needed it for freelance work. She laughed and left anyway. Tonight, the spark feels different. The market is twitching. A new coin, some privacy fork is whispering about moonshots. Your electricity here in the Permian Basin is cheap enough at 7.2 cents per kWh when the wind farms dump excess power, but still razor thin. You tweak the overclock one more time. Voltage down, memory clock up. The card groans louder. Heat radiates off it like a furnace. You lean back, rub your bloodshot eyes, and whisper to the dark room, "Come on, ghost, make me believe." That's when your phone buzzes. Unknown number, Odessa area code. You almost ignore it. You answer. A calm, low voice with a faint accent you can't place cuts through the fan noise. You the guy running solo on 13070 out of the Pines apartments? We've been watching your pool activity. Small, clean, consistent. We like that. Your stomach tightens. Who the fuck is this? Call me Rook. We run a private collective, not one of those corporate farms in Abilene sucking down substation power. We stay off-grid when we need to. We need someone who knows how to nurse old GPUs through hell without frying them. Someone hungry. Someone with nothing to lose. You laugh, bitter. I'm barely breaking even. That's why we want you. People who are already losing have the best motivation to win big. Meet us tomorrow night. Old pump station off Highway 385 south of town. Midnight. Come alone. Bring the card if you want proof you're serious. The line goes dead. You stare at Ghost's glowing LED. The fans keep screaming. You should delete the number. You should go back to bed. Instead, you feel it. That old spark twisted into something darker. The hunger, the chance to stop being the guy who loses. Midnight comes too fast. The pump station is a rusting skeleton under a blood-red moon. 3 blacked-out SUVs, 6 men. Rook steps forward, mid-40s, lean like a coyote, tattoos of circuit boards snaking up his neck. His eyes are sharp, amused. He nods at the duffel in your hand. Show me. You pull out Ghost, still warm from the drive. Rook plugs it into a portable rig they have set up. The hash rate pops up. He whistles low. Not bad for solo. Most guys with one card quit in week 2. You lasted 4 months. That means you're either stubborn or stupid. I'm betting both. They don't offer coffee, they offer a choice. Join the collective. They provide warehouse space in an abandoned fracking yard outside Midland, cheap power hooked straight off an unregulated tap, cooling from the desert night, and protection from the big players who don't like competition. In return, you run ops. Not just mining. They move hardware,
They optimize stolen rigs. They sometimes acquire electricity through creative line taps. And when the feds or rival crews sniff too close, you help disappear evidence, wiping wallets, burning drives, vanishing hash rates. You hesitate. Rook leans in, breath smelling of menthol and gun oil. Think of it as scaling up. 1 GPU to 100. Your cut starts at 8%. You prove yourself, it climbs. Refuse, well, we know where you live, and we know your mom's address in San Angelo. The threat is soft, almost polite. That makes it worse. You nod. Welcome to the game, miner. The initiation is brutal in its simplicity.
They put you in the warehouse that first week, a echoing metal building that reeks of hot silicone, diesel generators, and sweat. 27 GPUs already humming in makeshift frames. The heat is oppressive even at night. Your job, keep them alive. Diagnose failing cards, repaste thermal compound with shaking hands at 4 a.m., reroute power when a surge from the illegal tap nearly cooks the whole row. They give you a partner. They call him Sparks, a twitchy ex-electrician from Houston with burn scars on his forearms and a laugh like gravel in a blender. He's good with wiring but panics under pressure. Opposite him is Brick, a massive ex-Marine who handles security. Brick doesn't talk much. He just stares until you feel your spine crawl. And then there's Vesper, the only woman. Late 20s, half Korean, half something she never names. She's the wallet specialist. Cold, precise, fingers flying over multiple screens as she rotates addresses and tumbles coins through mixers. She looks at you like you're a puzzle she hasn't decided whether to solve or smash. First month, you barely sleep. Your hands blister from constant hardware work. The power draw is insane. One night, a transformer outside pops from overload. The whole farm goes dark for 6 hours. Rook loses his shit. You're the one who crossed through the dark with a headlamp and jury rigs a bypass using scavenged lines. When the rigs spin back up, Rook slaps your shoulder hard enough to bruise. You just saved us 40 grand and lost hashing. Not bad for the new blood. Small victories taste like copper and adrenaline. But missions escalate. They start sending you out. First, drive a van loaded with donated 3090s across the New Mexico line to a contact in Carlsbad. You ride with Sparks. Halfway there, headlights appear behind you. State trooper? Rival crew? You kill the lights, pull off into the desert scrub, hearts hammering while dust swirls. The car passes. You laugh shakily. Sparks pisses himself a little. Next job, you and Vesper infiltrate a small legitimate farm outside Lubbock, posing as power company inspectors. While she distracts the owner with fake paperwork, you slip into the server room and clone their wallet seed phrases. You feel dirty the whole time. The smell of fresh coffee in their break room contrasts with the sour fear in your gut. Each successful run buys you more cards. 10, 20, 50. Your personal stack grows. You start dreaming in green numbers and red loss charts. Brotherhood forms in the quiet hours. Late nights, sitting on the warehouse roof with Sparks and Brick, passing a warm beer. Sparks talks about his kid he never sees. Brick admits the Marine Corps taught him how to kill, but not how to live without it. Vesper stays distant, but sometimes joins, her shoulder brushing yours as she points out constellations and whispers about how crypto was supposed to free people from banks, not trap them in new chains. You tell them about your old man, about the dream that died. They listen. For a moment, the desert wind feels almost clean. But paranoia creeps in like coolant leaks. You notice Rook watching you longer than necessary. You catch Brick on the phone at odd hours, voice too low. Vesper's wallet movements start looking off. Too many private transfers. You tell yourself it's nothing. You're all in this together. Family now. Then the trigger event hits like a power surge. You're alone in the warehouse one rainless night when federal unmarked vans roll up silently. No lights, no sirens. Rook's voice crackles over the radio you all carry. Burn protocol. Everyone scatter. Miner, you're on the master wallet drive. Get it out.
Chaos explodes, gunshots in the distance, sparks screaming as tires screech. You grab the encrypted external drive containing every wallet seed, every tumbled coin, every dirty transaction log. It's worth millions if cracked, death if the feds get it. You run. Desert night air whips your face as you sprint between shipping containers. A bullet sparks off metal near your head. You dive, roll, come up behind the generator stack. Your heart is a war drum. Sweat stings your eyes. The drive feels like a live grenade in your backpack. You make it to the old service road. Hotwire a beat-up work truck. As you tear out onto the highway, headlights flood your mirrors. 2 SUVs. Rook's voice on the radio again, calm and cold. Hand it over, kid. We can still fix this. You don't want to be the one holding the bag when the feds trace it back. Betrayal tastes like battery acid. You realize too late. The raid wasn't random. Rook set it up. It controlled Burn to eliminate loose ends and consolidate power. The collective was never family. It was a machine, and you were just another GPU, youthful until you weren't. You floor it toward the only place you know might buy you time, the old pump station where it all started. The chase is pure cinema in hell. Your truck fishtails on loose gravel. Bullets punch through the tailgate. One shatters the rear window, glass spraying like sharp rain. You swerve onto a dirt track, killing the headlights again. The desert is black except for moonlight on Yucca and the glow of your phone showing a dying signal. Vesper's voice suddenly breaks through on a private channel you two set up weeks ago. Minor, I didn't know. I swear. Meet me at the old wind turbine field east of No Trees. I have a way out, but you have to trust me. Can you? You wait for half a second. Then you turn east. The final stretch is brutal. You reach the wind turbines, giants spinning lazily in the night wind like indifferent gods. Vesper is there, alone, a duffel at her feet and a motorcycle idling. Her face is streaked with dirt and something that might be tears. She hands you a new encrypted drive. This is clean. I split the real one. Half the funds are routed to an untraceable wallet. The other half, I kept for us. Rook will hunt us both now. Behind you, engines roar closer. You look at her, the woman who once scared you of how calculated she was. Now she looks human, scared, alive. You climb on the bike behind her. She guns it. The final act explodes across the West Texas plains. Rook's men close in on the highway. You lean low as Vesper weaves between 18-wheelers. A bullet grazes your arm. White-hot pain, blood soaking your sleeve. You fire back with a pistol Brick once showed you how to use, the recoil jolting your bones. One SUV swerves and flips in a screech of metal and sparks. Sparks' voice comes weakly over the radio one last time. Run, Minor. Don't let them... It cuts to static. Brick never calls. You wonder if he chose a side or if he's already gone. The bike eats miles. Dawn bleeds pink over the horizon as you cross into New Mexico. Vesper's body is warm against yours, trembling with exhaustion and adrenaline. You finally pull off into a dusty motel outside Carlsbad. One room, cash only, no cameras if you're lucky. Inside, you plug in the new drive. The numbers hit like a drug. Enough to disappear. Enough to start over, somewhere the heat can't reach. Enough to buy 1,000 GPUs if you wanted. But as Vesper collapses on the bed, breathing hard, you stare at the screen and feel the weight. You started with 1 GPU and a dream of freedom. You ended with blood on your hands, brothers lost or betrayed, and a woman whose loyalty you still aren't sure of. The crypto never sleeps, the machines never stop humming, and somewhere out there, Rook is already rebuilding, hunting. You close the laptop. The room smells of cheap soap, desert dust, and the metallic tang of your own blood. You lie down beside Vesper. Her fingers find yours in the dark. For the first time in months, the fans aren't screaming. But in your chest, something new is. A quieter, colder hum. The sound of the next card you'll have to buy. The sound of the man you've become. This is you. A crypto miner who started with 1 GPU. And now the whole underworld wants their cut.
The cheap motel room in Carlsbad feels like a coffin with bad AC. The hum of the mini fridge mixes with the distant roar of semi-trucks on the highway. Your arm throbs where the bullet grazed it, a raw, burning line that Vesper cleaned and wrapped with motel towels and duct tape. The smell of iodine and dried blood hangs thick in the stale air. She's asleep beside you, breathing shallow, one hand still loosely gripping the pistol under her pillow. Trust is a fragile thing in this world. You stare at the ceiling cracks and replay every moment. The warehouse raid, Rook's calm betrayal over the radio, Sparks' final broken transmission, Brick's silence. The collective wasn't family. It was a machine that chewed people up and spat out wallets. Dawn creeps in gray and merciless. You slip out of bed, careful not to wake her, and open the laptop on the scarred table. The clean drive boots up. Numbers glow green. Your share, after Vesper split, sits at just over $1.4 million in tumbled Monero and Bitcoin. Enough to vanish. Enough to buy a shipping container full of GPUs and start a clean farm somewhere no one asks questions. Enough to disappear to Thailand or Vietnam and live like a ghost. But the hunger doesn't die. It mutates. You remember the spark, that single RTX 3070 screaming in your Odessa apartment. Ghost, the card that started everything. You wonder if it survived the raid. Probably melted down or repurposed by Rook's new crew. The thought twists something ugly in your chest. Vesper stirs, her eyes open, sharp, calculating even half asleep. We can't stay here past noon. Rook's got eyes everywhere between here and the border. I know a guy in Albuquerque who can get us new identities. From there, Costa Rica or farther. You nod, but the words feel hollow. What about the others? Sparks is probably dead. Brick, she shrugs, but her voice cracks just enough to show the fracture. He was always Rook's dog, loyal until the paycheck changed. The betrayal sits heavy. You think about the nights on the warehouse roof, passing warm beer, talking about dreams that died long before the rig started spinning. Brotherhood forged in silicone and stolen power. Now it's ash. You both move fast. The shower turns the water pink with your blood. You ditch the truck in a Walmart parking lot, hotwire a nondescript sedan from the back row. Vesper drives while you monitor dark web chatter on a burner phone. Rook's already put out quiet contracts. Miner and the Wallet Girl. A life preferred. The drive is worth more than their heads. The road to Albuquerque stretches like a scar across the desert. Heat shimmers off the asphalt. Your arm burns with every bump. Vesper's fingers tap the wheel in nervous rhythm. She tells you her real name, not Vesper, but Gion, and how she got pulled in after her brother overdosed on fentanyl cut with cartel supply chains that ran through the same crypto tunnels you helped launder. The confession hits deep. For the first time, the cold wallet specialist sounds human. You share more about your mom in San Angelo, the oil field ghosts, the scholarship you lost. The conversation feels like stolen oxygen in a collapsing mine. Albuquerque arrives under a bruised sky. The contact is a wiry ex-hacker named Echo, living in a fortified trailer park on the edge of town. He swaps your plates, wipes the VIN, and hands over 2 new driver's licenses and passports for $40K cash. No questions. Just a warning. Rook's moving fast. Word is he's partnering with a bigger player out of Miami, some ex-Wall Street quant running a massive ASIC farm. They want your drive to consolidate power. You pay him and leave before sunset. That night in a new motel off I-40, the paranoia peaks. You and Gion lie tangled in cheap sheets, bodies slick with sweat from the desert heat, and the kind of desperate sex that feels like defiance against death. Afterward, she traces the bandage on your arm and whispers, "We could stop. Burn the drive. Walk away with what we have." You almost believe her, but the numbers call. You check the market on a VPN. A new coin is pumping, some AI-linked token with real utility in decentralized compute. Your miner brain lights up. With your share, you could quietly acquire hardware in a new location. Build something legitimate this time, or at least legitimate enough to hide the dirty origins. The obsession wins. You tell her you're heading north to a small town outside of Denver where old mining claims provide cheap off-grid power from mountain streams. Quiet, cold, far from Texas heat and Texas ghosts. She agrees, but her eyes linger a second too long.
The drive north is tense. Snow-capped peaks rise in the distance as you cross into Colorado. You stop in a tiny mountain town called Silverton. Old mining history. Perfect cover. You rent an isolated cabin under the new name. Power comes from a hydroelectric setup the previous owner rigged. Perfect for GPUs. You start small again. Buy 3 used cards locally with cash. Set them up in the basement. The hum returns. Familiar. Almost comforting. Ghost 2.0. The fan spins softer in the cool mountain air. Hashes tick up. Small profits roll in clean. For 2 weeks, it feels like peace.
You started with 1 GPU in a shitty Odessa apartment. You lost brothers, a woman who might have been more, and pieces of whatever soul you had left. Now you're alone again, wounded, in a freezing mountain cabin with a handful of cards and blood on your hands. The fans spin louder as another coin pumps somewhere in the digital dark. You lean forward, ignoring the fire in your shoulder, and adjust the overclock on the newest card. "Come on," you mutter to the empty room, voice hoarse. "Make me believe one more time." Outside, the wind howls through the pines like a warning. Somewhere, far away, Rook is still hunting. Ji-Yan is already a ghost again. The feds might be piecing together fragments. And you're still mining. Still starting over. Still the guy who believes the next card, the next coin, the next hash will finally set him free. The screen glows green in the dark. This is you, a crypto miner who started with 1 GPU and never learned how to stop.